Budgets are important instruments. We all know this already. They set goals and targets for the upcoming fiscal year. They help us understand India's priorities. We have seen this for years now, like in 1991, the reform budget, which opened up India's economy to the world, or the 2000 Millennium Budget. It laid the groundwork for IT development. It pushed India into the 21st century. What's even more interesting is how India's budgets have evolved, not just in what they say, but in how they do it. From using a budget briefcase to replacing it with a Bahi Khata, or a traditional ledger, and then moving to a tablet, signaling modernization. Our next report tells you about India's budget evolution.
Today, when Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman arrived at the Parliament, she was all set to unveil India's roadmap for the upcoming year. But before doing so, she posed for a picture in a nod to tradition and change. You see, the Union Budget is a paradox. It is a mix of heritage and evolution, of tradition and modernization. To understand how, let's go back in history to November 1947. That's when R.K. Shanmugam Chetty announced the budget. At the time, he served as the first Finance Minister of India. He presented the first budget of independent India. This was a long time ago. Since then, a number of budgets have been announced. Now, of course, some of them have stood out, like the 1991 budget, popularly known as the Reform Budget. It brought a major shake-up to India. It opened up India's economy to the world. The 1997 budget is also part of this club. This was the so-called Dream Budget and reformed India's tax regime. Or the 2000 Millennium Budget. It set the groundwork for India's IT development and pushed the country into the 21st century. So different budgets have left their mark in different ways. But look at the bigger picture and you'll see this. India's budgets have evolved. It all started with the budget briefcase. That's what the iconic briefcase is called. The budget was read from documents inside the briefcase. It was India's legacy from the British colonial rule. In 2019, the Narendra Modi government changed this. Sitharaman made history by breaking this tradition. She opted for the traditional Indian Bahi Khata. This is a red ledger-style pouch. It is commonly used by business owners in India to maintain accounts. This step was a showcase of India's departure from British customs and a return to its cultural roots. Then came another switch, this time nudged by the pandemic. The budget went paperless in 2021. It embraced technology and the Bahi Khata was switched with a tablet. This was another first for the Union Budget. It was delivered using a Made in India tablet, a move signalling reduced paper use and improved digital accessibility. Since then, Sitharaman has maintained this. She carries the tablet in a Khata-style pouch, blending modernity with tradition. And if anything, this is symbolic of India's budget history and its future priorities.
To benefit all taxpayers. We're calling the show Vantage. We hope you like what we put together for you. Touted as the minimum defense from that video. India's neighbors were the first to send the special edition of Vantage live from the White House throughout this week. Yes, Hindu Mandir in we're on our way to Tel Aviv. City measure, but it's also the perfect way to drive.
I don't think that
Prime Minister of Bhutan, Sheryl Tagwe. Welcome to
60% of the world's
office. Prime Minister Modi did the iron.
We were actually
How are you doing? How do you like? It's been 1 year since that meeting. Iron bars separate you from the outside. Out the vote effort. Trump had, it says, and at $4.3 trillion. 4.3 300 billion by 2030. That's what we need to tackle climate change.